Okay, hello everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Waalaikumsalam.
wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, good morning and welcome to this session 2 of biotechnology class. I am Nabila Putri Salahuddin as a moderator today that will lead the discussion session with our great speaker today, Dicky Nugraha. So, we will learn about cloning with Dicky. I believe all of you guys has been familiar with cloning, but our speakers today will explain in detail about cloning. So please welcome Dicky Nugraha.
Thank you very much, Bella. Thank you very much. So yes, hello. My name is Dicky and my ID is 1905197. So beforehand, I want to ask: is my voice audible? Because my connection is pretty much bad from the past month. Is my
Right.
connection good?
Dicky, maybe you can off your camera because it's a little bit bad here.
I see. All right. If I'm turning off my camera, is my voice clearer now?
It's
It's
better.
better.
All right. So I will apologize because my connection is pretty much bad, like every single day. All right. Therefore, everyone, welcome. So today I'm gonna talk about cloning in biotechnology and in biology, of course. So we're not gonna talk about gene cloning that can be happen in humans. We're gonna talk in biotechnology and biology. So as well as said before that, I think everyone already know that's what is cloning itself. Like it's ringing a bell in your mind, like, oh, cloning. All right. So I want to ask for one person. Did any of you want to elaborate with me? Tell me what is cloning by your description. If anyone wants to elaborate, just raise your hand beforehand. Yes, one person. I need one person. If there is no one, I think I can choose someone then. How about you, Bella? Because you said that it's not pretty much cloning.
Okay. I just remember one word about cloning. It's like one of the animal that has been cloning is sheep, like merino, I think.
All right,
That's
thank you
right.
very much. Yes, indeed. One of the animals that have been cloned is a sheep, and it's called Dolly. We will talk about Dolly later on, all right? So thank you very much, Bella. Is my connection good though? Because I can felt, the, the delay between my voice and Bella answer. I think my connection is not pretty much good. But all right, Bella, just tell me if my connection is pretty much bad. Okay.
Yes, I think it's bad, Vicky.
Oh my God, the delay is like
You get it?
Maybe you can move to the other place
seconds, 6 seconds.
first.
So can you understand? Yeah, can you understand? All right, how about now? Can you hear me better now?
Yes, it's better.
All right. So we're gonna start now. So I would like to apologize. In my mind map, it's not pretty much clear that there's no definition about the topics because I'm just putting in a point because I think mind map is like this. So I'm pretty much sorry, and I just wrote it down in my books that the definition itself. So we're gonna go to the first section. There is the definition of the cloning. In here, the definition of cloning is making new individual that identical genetically. All right, that's the main point. It's making a new individual that identical genetically. So everything that came from the cloning is going to be having a same gene, having a same DNA, having a same kind of organs like the foster mother. So the offspring is going to be pretty much the same like the foster mother. So there is two types here. The first is in biology, and the second is in the biotechnology. So cloning in biology, we can tell that is the process of developing an individual with the same type within genetic manipulation. So in biology here, it doesn't require any human helps. there is some animals, there's some plants that can, making their own the same offspring, they're like their own mother, and it's cloning. For example, here there is asexual reproduction. Yes, the way of making cloning in plants or animals is named asexual reproduction. It's mean that they doesn't need to reproduce within a male and female. They just need one individual to make another individual. For example, I will tell it later in the natural cloning. And then there is some typo there. The 1.12 creating individual with desired attribute is should be in biotechnology. So we are gonna move to biotechnology. Or beforehand, what is asexual reproduction? It does mean that it's not involve the chains of the gametes. It doesn't involve the fusion of the gametes. So there is no male-female fusion of gametes. It's just an individual making another individual within the same gametes. And then in biotechnology here, I will just tell you the main point is the work of human to produce the copy of DNA, gene, cell, or organism. So here is the work of human, because it's again, biotechnology is pretty much, I can tell it's artificial. So we can make it by our own. Why we make it by our own? It's gonna be because we're gonna need that kind of gene inside our desired animals or plants. And it's we're gonna use the genetic replication, and the genetic replication pretty much saying like making multiple desired DNA. So we're gonna making the clone of DNA of the desired animals, and then we're gonna go with the creating individual with desired attributes, and that's the main point of the biotechnology. All right, so we're gonna talk about types of cloning, the second section there. There's artificial and natural cloning. So I can already tell you that in natural cloning, it's pretty much asexual reproduction. For example, in plants, there is two types of asexual reproduction. The first is vegetative, and the second is approximist reproduction, asexual reproductions. And for example, what kind of plants that making their own clones? For example, we can say it's potato. The tubers, potato, stolons, or bulbs. For bulbs, simply is onion. They can make their own the same characteristic of the mother, the offspring itself. Offspring, I think it's off sprout, if you know what I mean. All right, well, let's continue. So the second is in the animals, in natural cloning of animals. So there is asexual reproduction there, for example, in planarians, or annelid worms, or sea stars. For example, we can say it's fragmentation in platyhelminthes. We can know that what's it called again? The flatworm. Yeah, the flatworm. They can divide their body and regrow their own body within one individual, become two individuals. So they can work. They can move around within that area, but within it's a different individuals, even though it came from one individuals. And then for the artificial cloning here, we are told that it's genetic replication. So in plants, there is like a way or a techniques that needed to make this possible. We can tell it's like plant tissue culture, and for in animals, we can just take the nucleus from some female egg, and then we're gonna put a desired DNA that we want to the nucleus, to the egg, to the unfertilized eggs of the animals itself. We're gonna talk about that later in the field of cloning. All right, so the third part is here is the urgency of cloning in animals field and the plants field. I forgot it's not urgency of cloning, but urgency of biotechnology cloning, because well, for the biology cloning, it is indeed like everything that comes natural, it happens because they can do it, because they have the origin to do it. And if you ask like for example, why did platyhelminthes do fragmentation? I can say it's again up to the creator itself, the God. So I don't have any, why do they can do that? Because they can do that. They have the organ to do that. And then for the artificial here, for example, urgency of cloning in the animals field, because we need because in this scenario we work about human work of human in the biotechnology again, work of human. Sometimes it's gonna for the animal itself. If for example, if the animal's offspring, we can just make it artificial offspring. An offspring if one toe their organs is not functioning. And then for the plants field, it's the same. It is for the human work because biotechnology again. So for example, there is some strawberry that more sweet than other strawberry in other particular area because we're gonna, making that gene, that sweet is gonna be contained in another. So within that field, all of the strawberry is gonna be taste like pretty much gonna take the artificial cloning there, the artificial cloning of the plants. So we're gonna take the desired DNA that we want to make. What is that the DNA to make it sweet? We're gonna take it and we're gonna do the plant tissue culture or other stuff like other biotechnology what techniques to make the cloning of the plants. And here's the last is the field of cloning in biotechnology. We're gonna talk more deeper in this one. So there's two parts, and here is in animals and in plants. I'm gonna talk about plants first. So the technique itself, we can say that one of them is plant tissue culture. We are tell that. So the tissue culture here is gonna taking part of some it can be the gen, the cells of the plants, but we need to put it in the clean environment, clean area, clean environment. So it's gonna be taking like a tube that pretty much sterilized, and we're gonna make the plant tissue there, the organs or the cells, or the tissue itself is taken there. But actually, there is someone's gonna talk more deep about this in the next seminar, I guess. Yes, I have seen that. So for the plant tissue, is gonna talk much more deeper later on. And then in animals, the technique here is pretty much like taking a nuclei from unfertilized egg and putting the embryonic cells. So the unfertilized egg from the female adults will be taken from them. And then we're gonna take the nuclei of the unfertilized egg. So therefore, it's not pretty much, we can put any other genetic material, embryonic materials that we want. For example, embryonic for a Lamborghini cause that why they can grow up so big. We're gonna take that to the cause that we are desired of, so they can produce the offspring that's pretty much similar with what we want. But how did they can fusion? So we're gonna make it. It said it's using electric. So using electric, they can be fusion the embryonic and the unfertilized eggs, and then this eggs are gonna be making an embryo. It's gonna be making an embryo, and we put back again the embryo to the female adult uterus. We can call them the foster mother here. So yeah, they are gonna the one who giving birth to this particular embryo, made up embryo by the human, and then they're gonna giving birth to the offspring that's we are desired, and we're gonna having that desired offspring that having that kind of embryo. We just need to breed them, and after that we are not gonna need to do that kind of process again and again because they are gonna reproduce themselves and making the same kind of themselves, the thing that we want, the things that we want, the embryo that we want, the gene that we want from that animals. So I think that's all. That's wrap it all from the cloning in biotechnology. Therefore, I'm gonna end the presentation now. So Bella, please take it.
All right, thank you, Dicky, for the great presentation of cloning. It is the question. Who have a question to Dicky, please ask. And one more. Okay, I'm split it. So for the first question comes from Felicia. Please, Felicia.
Okay, thank you, Bella, for the opportunity. I would like to ask one question because I have not good as the original because such immunity or something. And my question will influence the environment, I mean our environment. If yes, what are the potential dangers or threats that associate with the extent use of cloning? Do you get my question?
All right, so the question is Felicia maybe ever heard about the cloning? The product of cloning is not as the original one. That one is, for the example, it is has not immunity. So us as a human, so that lead the influence. So it can be cause a big potential dangerous or not. That's the question. Okay, thank you,
Yes,
Felicia.
exactly.
Okay, so for the next question comes from Haya. So please, Haya.
Okay, thank you, Bella, for the opportunity, and thank you, Dicky, for the great presentation. For my question, so can we make our own preference of cloning? Like we can make a plan that based on our own characteristic, and then animals by our own characteristic. Like, can we produce a specific cloning like what we want? And also for the animals, for the product of cloning, can we like consume them? I think that's for my question.
All right, Haya, can you please repeat the second question?
Okay, for the second question, for the product of the cloning, like such as animals, can we consume them? Like if one, we know that we can consume them, but how about animals? Can we consume the animals, the product of the cloning, like that?
Okay, thank you, Haya, for the question. So Haya asked two questions. The first question is, can we make our cloning by our own characteristic? And then for the second question, for the animals product of cloning, can we consume them? Is that the question, Haya?
Yes, Bella.
Okay, thank you. So we jump to the next question comes from Miss Lilith. So please, Miss Lilith.
Okay, thank you, Bella. Thank you very much, Dicky, for the great presentation about the cloning. I would like to clarify in here. You mentioned before there are example or product from cloning. For example, in here, tissue culture, or in specifically in plant tissue culture. This is will be elaborate for the next webinar. And I would like see in here Dolly the sheep, and also as the product of the cloning. Please explain more how to produce the dolly as the cloning product. Okay, thank you, Bella.
All right, thank you, Miss Lilith. So Miss Lilith asked about Dolly the sheep as the product of the biotechnology cloning. So please explain more about how it's produced. So that's the question for the first session. Okay, so for Dicky, I would like to repeat the question. For the first question comes from Felicia. So Felicia asked about the potential dangerous of cloning. So would you like to directly answer it?
Yes, I think I will like to
Okay,
answer
so
it like
please.
now. So the question is Falisa have heard that these not genetic, I mean, the cloning itself is not the same like the original. Like for some plants or animals, they cannot having the same immunity as the original kind of these animals. And then what's the potential danger? Because we are the one that's responsible for doing this, right? So for this, regarding of this question, actually, uh, we are a lot of scientists. We are gonna making a lot of things, but based on research, right? We are gonna making something based on research and making like there is no such non-mistake in any research. Like we are gonna making some things good, but before that something good came out, we need something that missing out. What is the problem in this thing? What is the problem in this thing? And Police is asking that what if the animal doesn't have that kind of immune as the original, and they maybe can die easily, or they can get disease easily, not like the original one? We can say that this meant that the cloning is not pretty much viable. That's not pretty much good for the animals itself. So we can just stop making that embryotic cells or embryotic or I mean embryotic DNA from the animals to the other animals. So if it's gonna be making the animals is not working properly, we can just stop that. So we can already know, oh, this is not good. Let's make something better, something like that. So therefore, if there is something such an error like this, like they don't have any much immunity like the original, maybe the scientists are going to be making another way how can they implant this embryo at their own desire without making that immunity decrease. So again, there will be a lot of mistake. There is a lot of error in this particular thing. And again, if you are talking about the rest human, because we are the one who really want to do it, we are the one who experiment on it, and it's not pretty much rare to having any error in this type of research. So that might be my answer. So the potential danger it is, and so we can just don't do the same thing again because we already know the result, and that result can lead to another something success from the research, something like that. That's might be my answer. How is it, Lisa?
Okay,
Yes,
how about it?
yes, it's very clear. So it's about the risk that must.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, thank you very much, Vicky.
Okay, thank you, Felicia, for the question, and also thank you, Dicky, for the answer. So, for the next question comes from Haya. Haya asked two questions. The first one is, can we make our own cloning by our own characteristic? And then for the second question is, for the animal product, can we consume it? So, for Dicky, please
All right,
answer.
I will answer it now. So for the first question, actually, I do have the same idea like you, Haya. Like, can we just make our own desires like plants and animals that we want desired? But again, it's taking about the responsibility. You are working with something alive. If you want to try, you can try. Actually, you can try. But the success of this thing is not pretty much 100%, and you need a trial and error within this kind of research because of course, all right. Of course, we can just just rationally think about the success rate of the experiment itself. But what can be the result is not pretty much 100% that we want to be, and therefore you can just try. You can try it. You can like, I want to try like making a plans that like this, like this, like this. You can try, and we don't know what is the answer yet. If it's gonna be pretty much fable, like 100% the embryo that we are gonna taking, or I mean the plants within the tissue transplant is gonna be good or not because we need to research it first. So if the question that can we, I think we can try, but we don't know is it gonna be possible or not. If you already know the answer, then it's possibly it can work or it cannot work. And the second question is for the product of cloning, for example, in the animals, can we consume them? It is, we can, because again, we're gonna just taking the embryotic things from the embryo that we are desired. Except if you're gonna take the embryotic uh, the embryo that pretty much sick or the pretty much that is not consumable by us, by human, it is we cannot eat them. We cannot eat them because again, this the idea of cloning artificially is making a whole new individual within our working because we need that desired cells of the other animals. So if the other animals that we take the embryo is consumable, then the offspring of our artificial cloning is also consumable. That's gonna be the answer. So again, for example, I forgot what I want to say before. Well, that I think yeah, that's all. I forgot what I want to say.
All right, thank you, Dicky, for the answer. How about Haya? So, you asked two questions. Can we make our own cloning, and can we consume the animal product of cloning? So, both two questions, the answer is yes. How about it, Haya?
Yes, I pretty much got the answer. Thank you, Ki. Thank you, Bella.
All right, thank you, Haya, for the question. And then the next question comes from Miss Lilith. So, Miss Lilith asks you, please explain more about the Dolly the sheep as a product of cloning.
All right, thank you, Mila. So the first question might be from Miss Lit is what the tissue culture is gonna be. Is it gonna be the same like the other materials that we're gonna present by other students in our biotechnology class? I think yes, because plant tissue is the tissue culture there is I think pretty much the same. Even though the other people, the other students not gonna be particularly talking about the cloning itself, but maybe it's gonna focus more about the plant tissue itself. So I can tell it might be the same like we are talking about because plant tissue is one of the the way of biotechnology making cloning. And then for the Dolly the Ship, so the Dolly the Ship, why does Dolly the Ship always mentioned in every single book that we're gonna learn about cloning? Because Dolly the Ship is pretty much the first cloning on animals that is success. Even though Dolly the Ship is not having a long age, because the first thing they do to the Dolly the Ship is taking the embryotic from an adult animals. Therefore, the embryo is not pretty much durable for their own age because the embryo is taken from the adult. So the gene there is already from the adult, and then the Dolly the Ship is not having not live a long life, and it died. So where is the Dolly? The Dolly is found in Scotland by Wilmot and his friends in 1997. So that's the first ever animals cloning that happened. But now we already know that embryotic can be taken from the other animals that pretty much healthy and their age on their age, so we can have the most uh, the most desired animals that we want. So that's all about the dolly, I guess. Because why does it mention again and again? The thing is that because dolly is the first ship that ever been cloned, and then the way of having the dolly ship is pretty much the same that I've already explained before. That taking out the nuclei from the unfertilized egg and other stuff. So maybe that's all why dolly the ship is mentioned in the book.
All right, thank you, Dicky, for the answer. And how about Miss Lilith?
Okay, thank you, Dicky. So I get the point from your answer. So Dolly has no longer age, right? Because the initial cell taken from adult cell or somatic cell, right? So when Dolly delivered as the baby sheep, right? So that's mean the age is not baby, right? The age is same with the adult host or adult somatic cell, because Dolly comes from somatic cell. Okay, can we sum up like that, Dicky?
Yes, Mr. Lip, it's pretty much like that.
Okay, thank you, Dicky. Okay, thank you, Bella.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Lilith, for the question and also Dicky for the answer. Okay, so we can jump to the next Q&A session for the second session. So please, anyone who want us, please raise your hand. Is there anyone want to ask? All right, so I will invite to anyone, two people more for the question.
Hello.
Okay, so Fahriza, would you like to
Yeah,
ask something?
absolutely.
Okay.
So my question, we clone everything. Let's say, what is it? Developed countries are undergoing through population crisis. Again, their population are dying faster than they gave birth. Their population are aging, and yeah. So, to add to the population, why not cloning? Like, why do you like what? Again, people are like so against cloning humans. So like, why? That's my question.
All right. So the question is on the development on the developed countries. So the population there is a population crisis, and then the question is can you repeat the question, Amri?
So the question
think-
would be like, do you get it, bro?
I get it, mate. I get
Alright,
it.
cool.
Alright. So, all right. So this is talking about genetic cloning. It's not biotechnology, but you know what? I am down to answering this kind of question. It's about ethic again. So yeah, in developed countries, they are talking about, for example, all right, China. There are the talk about the first ever human that gonna be doing the round of, information for other part of human that they think it's pretty much better, so they can boost their own immune system of their own offspring or their own baby, so they can live longer or they can having a good body in the future. But again, why does it's pretty much so controversial about cloning of human? Actually, cloning, I can tell myself that this is like playing with God. I can tell because we are gonna talk about genetic things and we already pretty much completed all of our system in our origin, in their origin, in animal's origin, in plant's organ, already completed by the God. We can also live without making any single. We can live again. We can live without making any single of this kind of thing. But because we are human, we doesn't just can. Well, we can just leave it now. We human, we curious about a lot of things, so we make this kind of thing. That's why we got a lot of technology and the things that about global warming and the stuff. Why that humans live, shorter? Maybe because there's a lot of pollutants in developed country, because there's a lot of advanced machinery there, and therefore, what is the main problem? It's again, it's human. We human make our own mistakes, and we are gonna trying to make another way to escape, and that another way to escape is making the clone. But again, it is pretty much bad. I can say myself, right? This is because my own opinion, because we are gonna talk about making, formulating a human, formulating about some things that pretty much live, and therefore it's pretty much bad. So if you ask about that, I think it's pretty much controversial because it's related about live things, and we are making a lot of research of living things, and it's pretty much, I can say, ethically, something like that. And for those who have religions, they are already told so too in there. So that might be my answer for that question, mate.
All right, thank you, Dicky, for the answer. How about Fahriza?
That was lovely, mate. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Fahri. And we can jump to the next question. Comes from Atoylah. So please, Atoy.
Okay, thank you, Bella, and thank you, Dicky. So, I want to ask about your opinion, literally. So, you said before that cloning is like playing with God. We can say like playing with God. Do you think that all the cloning things can, apa ya, mengganggu the balance of life in this world? Because we know that if as a human, if we got the best result of something, we will dependency for do that again, right? And uh, it will be possible the natural one or the basic one of the species or plant will extinct. So do you think it will be, mengganggu balance of life in this world, or yeah, cloning, just cloning for some reason gitu? Do you get my question?
I got the question. All right,
Okay.
Bella, you want to say something first?
All right. Okay. So Atoy asked about what is your opinion about cloning is playing with God. So and then what is your opinion? Is it will disturb the balance of this world because the cloning it will it disturb the balance of this world? So that's the question.
All right, thank you very much for the question. I think, yeah, it's pretty much metaphor. And yeah, okay, disturbing the balance of the world. That's the main question. I think it might change some things in our natural habitats. For example, if we are gonna clone much about plants or animals in the future, maybe there will be some animals or plants that the human thing, right? Human thing cannot pretty much adapt to the situation, because again, it's human fault. All of these carbon dioxides and all of those, pollutions and global warming stuff, it's because of human. So human also thinks that plants and animals cannot be live any longer in that kind of environment. So they gonna making some animals taking some part of their embryonic body that they think it's required to live in the future. So if you ask about the balance of the world, well, I don't think the world is already balanced anymore, because there's a lot of problematic things, and humans do have the urge to change a lot of things, and it can change also the balance of the world itself, like the one that you said. Maybe the wild animals in the future may change, like their own behavior and other stuff, like they can manipulate some things that from that animals to be alive in the future, because again, there's a lot of humans error in this world. So if you ask, is it possible? I think it's pretty much possible, but I don't know if the world will exist that much more longer. So yeah, I think that's the question, the answer. Like, it's possible. It's pretty much possible if we do curious about a lot of things and a lot of stuff. It can be human, the one that making a lot of things pretty much harder for human themselves, something like that.
All right, thank you, Dicky, for the answer. How about Atoy?
Yeah, thank you, Dicky and
Okay, thank you, Atoy, for the question. Okay, so everyone, so we can close this session. So before that, I will sum up cloning. So Dicky has been explained about the definition of cloning. So simply we can say that the cloning is make a new individual that identity. And we can see the definition of the cloning based on biology, and then we can see also from the biotechnology and genetic replication, asexual reproduction, and creating individual. Okay. Okay, so that's for the definition. See the natural cloning and then the artificial cloning. So the natural cloning is like the asexual reproduction. Next type of cloning is artificial cloning. For the next point is the urgency of the field in the animal deficiency. So we can and then for the next one is cloning is kind of like fitness of the strawberry. So we can see from the animal. That's all the summarize of this. Thank you for your. I will close this session.